Welcome to Arabella the Melody Teller. Tonight, I bring you the newly rewritten version of a fallen myth, a tale reborn beneath crimson moonlight and the eternal veil of Nocturna. Here stands a queen of night who dreamed of peace between immortal blood and mortal breath. Yet dreams are fragile things when fear becomes poison. The fall of the vampire empress begins now. The Fall of the Vampire Empress, a melodic tale of twilight and dawn, the complete tale. On the profound depths of Nocturna's night, a realm shrouded in veils of obscure mist, Empress Seraphina stood upon the balcony of her ancient stone castle, bathed in the warm, ambient light spilling from the archway behind her. Her ruby eyes, resplendent as stars in a moonless sky, gazed across the vast expanse of her empire. Her ethereal visage was crowned with a spiky, pitch-black diadem that rose like the thorns of a dark rose, bearing a brilliant, blood-red gemstone at the center of her brow, resting just above her unique, mystical purple markings that bearing a brilliant, blood-red gemstone at the center of her brow, resting just above her unique, mystical purple markings hair in the middle. Her elegant, slender silhouette was encased in a midnight black corset, intricately embroidered with exquisite silver vines. Sheer, delicate black lace sleeves extended down her arms, perfectly complementing a blood-red cape with a high, dramatic collar that flared out behind her like the wings of the night itself. All the while, her heart beat with radiant hope and magnificent dreams. Her silver moon hair, interwoven with delicate streaks of vibrant purple and soft pink, fluttered in the nocturnal breeze like a stream of moonlight cascading through the dark. She could feel the profound love and steadfast loyalty emanating from her people, a sensation as warm and sweet as honeycomb in the height of spring. She spoke with a gentle, dulcet voice, soothing as the strum of a harp echoing in the dead of night. I believe we can forge a new world, a world where immortals and mankind can dwell together in absolute harmony. The very breath of the night seemed to pause momentarily, leaning in to listen to her melodious voice. She gazed upon the vast lands before her, her heart overflowing with benevolent hope. Vampires and humans alike possess precious gifts to share with one another. We need only open our hearts and extend the opportunity to each other. But alas, as time passed, dark clouds of dread began to creep in, casting a toxic shadow that spread across the realm. Malicious whispers and venomous rumors caught like wildfire in a drought, sowing seeds of paranoia and suspicion that took deep root with every passing second. In the human settlements, the sharp, grating cries of a rebel leader echoed like a cracked bell, ringing out in harsh discord. The Empress schemes to subjugate us. She deceives us only to build an even more monstrous vampire empire, and to take us as her prey. The breathtaking majesty and regal attire that her subjects once revered were now viciously twisted into symbols of terror. Her thorny black crown and the blood-red gem upon her brow were condemned as the brands of a tyrant. Her scarlet cape and pitch-black corset were demonized as the very colors of death and slaughter, lurking within the dim, mysterious shadows of her stone fortress. Fear and hatred spread among the populace like a lethal venom coursing through their veins. The rebel leader continued his roaring tirade, his voice dripping with vengeful wrath. We must overthrow her before it is too late. Empress Seraphina sensed the mounting tension, like volatile lightning gathering in the heavens before a devastating tempest. She dispatched emissaries to negotiate, praying that words of peace could extinguish the sparks of war before they erupted into an inferno. Soon, her royal envoy addressed the human council, his voice deep, gentle, yet heavy with solemn gravity. I beseech you all to listen with an open heart. Empress Seraphina desires nothing but peace and prosperity for every life, be they immortal or human. But those earnest pleas plummeted into a deafening silence, like seeds cast upon barren stone, utterly incapable of sprouting the tender shoots of peace. On a pitch-black, horrifying night, blood-curdling cries of rage echoed across the land, mirroring the roars of starving beasts. Human rebel factions within the empire, propelled by blind terror and bitter hatred, breached the borders of Nocturna. The rebel leader's commands pierced through the smoke and rising flames, sounding like the trumpets of demons heralding the arrival of death. "Burn it all to the ground! Slaughter them all! Leave not a single vampire alive!" They obliterated everything in their path like a merciless sandstorm wiping away homes and havens. Innocent vampires fell like withered leaves in autumn, leaving only a tragic trail of devastation in their wake. Empress Seraphina was plunged into profound mourning, her heart shattered like delicate glass struck by an iron hammer. Her beautiful ruby eyes shed tears of blood, a ceaseless stream of unfathomable anguish flowing forth. She spoke once more through her emissary, her voice trembling with bottomless sorrow. "I beseech you, one last time, halt this bloodshed. We can still find a resolution together. I am ready to negotiate and forge a fair covenant for all parties." Yet her desperate pleas were met with unrelenting hostility, like colossal waves crashing violently against jagged cliffs. The human leaders, their hearts utterly consumed by fear, declared all-out war upon the realm of Nocturna. The once tranquil nights of Nocturna were now saturated with the deafening cacophony of battle and the lamentations of the fallen, weaving an endless dirge of sorrow. Empress Seraphina was forced to take up arms to protect her kin, leading her legions into the fray, though her heart remained burdened with crushing agony. She spoke to her most loyal general, her words as soft as the midnight wind. "This is not what I desired in the slightest, but if this is the only path left to shield our people, I must walk it." The conflict raged on with a fierce and terrifying intensity, a maddening clash of an ocean of blood and tears. Despite their formidable strength and immortality, the children of the Might struggled immensely against the human armies, who swarmed in numbers as vast as a plague of locusts. Amidst this chaotic maelstrom, traitors lurking within Seraphina's own court saw a golden opportunity to seize the throne, waiting like venomous serpents to deliver a fatal strike to their prey. The usurper whispered to his conspirators, his tone as frigid as winter's ice. "She is far too weak. She no longer deserves this throne. We must dispose of her for the future of Nocturna." Fueled by blinding ambition and the burning fires of vengeance within his chest, the traitor slithered into the palace at the stroke of midnight, a dark shadow creeping into a dream, and drove a cursed blade straight through the Empress's body. Seraphina gasped, her voice fading like the last fragile petal dropping in a parched autumn. "You, why, I only wished for peace." With her final fleeting breath, Seraphina uttered a chilling curse, her voice resonating across the cosmos like the tolling bell of destiny. "May your soul never find solace. May your sins haunt you for all eternity. and may this endless war consume everything until mankind learns the true value of peace." Her curse rippled across the earth, a shockwave of immense power shaking the very core of the universe, igniting an eternal war destined to devour both humans and vampires like a gaping abyss swallowing all life. The war ground on, growing more barbaric with every passing second, a hellfire blazing without end. Both sides endured catastrophic losses, their blood and tears carving rivers of misery. The breathtaking lands of Nocturna were now disfigured by countless battle scars, resembling a body tortured beyond all recognition. Amidst the smouldering ruins of the once magnificent empire, Seraphina's fiercely loyal followers rallied their strength for one final stand. They were a flickering flame of hope, burning brightly one last time before fading into the dark, led by her most devoted general. The great general roared to the heavens, his voice brimming with unyielding resolve and unbreakable faith. "For Empress Seraphina, for the future we dreamed of, fight until your very last breath." The vampire warriors roared in deafening unison, their voices echoing across the blood-stained battlefield like the cry of a phoenix preparing to rise from the ashes. They charged headlong into the human vanguard with absolute, unflinching courage. Even knowing full well how impossibly slim their chances of victory truly were, the battle was a visceral, blood-soaked nightmare. Blade clashed violently against blade, and crimson droplets painted the earth red. The agonized roars of the wounded and the piercing shrieks of the dying harmonized into the world's final song before its impending extinction. The loyal general fought relentlessly. His sword performed a mesmerizing dance of death, felling enemies one after another. But in a cruel, fleeting instant, an arrow pierced straight through his chest. The mighty general collapsed to the earth, his lifeblood pooling beneath him. Yet his lips managed to whisper his final, parting words. "Seraphina, I have fulfilled my duty to the end. May your spirit find its rest. Within the grand halls of Nocturna's eternal night, we shall surely meet again." One by one, the soldiers of the night fell like dead leaves scattered by the autumn wind. Their raw courage simply could not withstand the overwhelmingly massive forces of humanity. At long last, as the final vampire perished, the clamour of war slowly faded into a haunting silence, leaving behind only the ragged, gasping breaths of the victors. All that remained was the steadfast conviction that they would reunite in the afterlife, a soulful promise binding them together before their departure. The triumphant humans stood paralyzed amidst the devastation of the battlefield, their eyes hollow and utterly bewildered. This victory left a remarkably bitter taste upon their tongues, like fruit left to rot before it could ever ripen. The once verdant, lush meadows of Nocturna had been transformed into a colossal graveyard, an immense canvas painted violently in the red of blood and the black of death, a horrific testament to the gruesome price of hatred and paranoia. But then, piercing through the suffocating darkness and despair, a faint, fragile whisper of hope emerged, babbling softly like a tiny, nascent stream. A single human soldier whispered, tears brimming in his eyes. "Is this truly what we desired? This absolute, mutual annihilation?" Another soldier replied, his voice trembling under the crushing weight of his guilt. "Perhaps Empress Seraphina was right all along. We should have listened to her. We should have given peace a chance." Seraphina's curse continued to echo in the mournful wind, an eternal reminder of the devastating cost of hatred and division, yet simultaneously serving as a beacon of hope for a far more beautiful tomorrow. In this profound moment of darkness, the spirit of Seraphina seemed to levitate gracefully above the ruins of Nocturna, radiating like soft, tender moonlight illuminating a starless night, the ultimate, lingering hope for a fractured world. Her spectral whisper drifted gently, carried upon the nocturnal breeze. Learn from the mistakes of the past. Open your hearts wide and forge a new world where all lives can reside together in harmony. That is my dream, and I pray that someday it will become our reality. And then, within the engulfing darkness, minuscule sparks of hope began to materialize. They were like tiny, resilient seeds taking deep root in soil drenched with blood and tears, ready to bloom into the great trees of peace in the days to come. That is, if the people chose to learn from this agonizing lesson and opened their hearts wide enough to embrace their differences. The tragic legend of Empress Seraphina and the utter fall of Nocturna would be passed down through countless generations. It would serve as a powerful testament to the enduring strength of love and forgiveness, and a stark, dire warning of the catastrophic consequences bred by hatred and fear. It was told so that future generations might learn and never again repeat these grievous mistakes, all carrying the fervent hope that someday Seraphina's dream would finally be realized, and a new world where all lives coexist in perfect, serene harmony would finally be born. And so, dear listener, the night closes upon Nocturna. A throne has fallen, a dream has bled, and a queen who longed for harmony has become a warning carried by the wind. Yet even among ashes, one tender spark remains. Perhaps peace is never born from victory, but from the grief that teaches the heart to understand. May Seraphina's sorrow linger with you, soft as moonlight, deep as a vow. Until we meet again in another tale beneath another twilight.